Hello everyone, I'm Paul and welcome to Gelin Outdoors. Today I'm going to talk about the new Kubota tractor I have behind me. For the previous 6 years I had a Kubota BX, you'll see here in a picture I'll put up, and I've moved up from the BX to the LX tractor. So I thought I'd just take you on a walk around of the new tractor, and in addition to that, my initial thoughts. So let's take a look at it. You can see here it has the 535 loader, and then it has a 60-inch light duty bucket. The grill guard here, and in addition to that I have the function valve remotes, and the cabling goes back to the valve. I got a couple nice free hats. The salesman told me one to keep clean and one to use while I get dirty. I'll just put these aside. The hood on this one here opens from the front. So basically what I have to do is pull the lever here, push the guard up, and turn the little emblem. And we can lift it straight up. There's a rod here that holds it up. And if I can see where it goes, right there. So this is the inside of the engine, and as you notice, the grill here is at the front, and on the Kubota BX, a big difference is that the hood here would open up from the other side. It had a reverse airflow. So this here, the LX tractor, has the airflow coming in from the front, where the BX had it on the other side here, and it would come in from the operating station. The other thing about the BX that I had, it only had a 48-inch bucket, so this bucket's quite a bit bigger, and it will scoop a much larger volume of gravel or snow or whatever it is, any kind of material that I want to move around. The tires on this one here are much bigger. There are 4 tires, both in the front and here in the back. Now there are different types of tires. You can get the R14s, you can get the turf tires. I really do like the R4, the industrial tires. It's kind of a, for me anyways, I find it a very versatile tire. It's the tire that I prefer, so that's the reason why I've got these on here. Down here you can see my third function valve to operate my grapple, and the hosing that goes up. The hosing's for 5,800 psi, and you can see here, which was kind of surprised, that the hosing is not as heavy or not as thick as the one that I had on my BX. But it's a higher rating. As I mentioned, is 5,800 psi on that. The other thing to mention on here is that it has a dual brake, and this here unlocks. If I depress the brake, I can unlock it, and I can just press one brake or the other. That will help me turn on a sharper radius. The working station up here, I'll just move the hats out of the way. I'm going to climb up. On here you can see there's a foot step. I can step up on it. Makes it a little easier to get up onto the tractor. Now the big difference here is that with the LX, when you move up from the BX, is that you feel like you're driving a bus. It's totally different. So far I've driven this thing maybe 50 feet. The salesman dropped it off, and I just drove it to my garage here. I washed it up, and then I had put it away, and I've just taken it out today. The nice feature on here is that it has tilt steering, so I have a little foot pedal, push on that, and I can pull the steering wheel down and lock it into position. And when I go to get off the tractor, I can release it with my foot, and it goes back up. The parking brake has a little lever here to press the brake, and it has a little lever to lock it in. And Then on this side here, I've got my throttle. Now I'm not going to cover all the features. I'm just going to mention a few more things that's different on the LX in comparison to the BX, because it is quite a bit of a upgrade from one tractor to the other. Now don't get me wrong, the BX that I had a very hard time to sell it. I was very reluctant. Little BX is a totally awesome machine. Anybody that's thinking about buying a BX, absolutely go for it. It's one of the best versatile tractors. I used mine for 6 years. I had it in the bush. It worked really well working in the bush. I had a backhoe on it, so it never had a problem getting stuck anywhere. The reason why I went to the LX is that I wanted something with a larger loading capacity, so I can lift heavier logs. I start to cut some bigger wood. Also, I wanted a bucket that was much larger for clearing snow and to moving dirt, so I can get jobs done a little bit quicker. The other thing was that I wanted more pulling power to skid some logs and stuff as such. So, and then again, the one last thing is that I wanted the tractor. If you look down below, you can see the height of the tractor from the ground, the clearance. It's considerably larger clearance than what the BX had, so I'll be able to move around in the bush and kind of drive over things a little easier. The one thing that I didn't do is I didn't purchase the backhoe. I kind of regret it at this time right now, because I did use my backhoe for about 350 hours of the 800 plus hours I had in my BX. So I do miss it already, but I'm going to try and see how I can adapt without having that. It is about a $10,000 purchase, so I didn't know if I had $10,000 more work to do with the backhoe. So I'm still on the fence whether I'll get one or not. A few other things I want to mention is that here on the levers, the BX only had a 2-speed. It only had a low and a high. Here on the LX, there's a low, medium, high, and a neutral. So that's slightly different. The other thing on the other side here, one thing that's really different is it has this treble pedal, and you can press to go forward or to go in reverse. Now the one thing about this pedal here is that it's totally different than what the BX has, and when I purchased this tractor, I purchased it without seeing it. There were no tractors on the lot when I bought it, so I had no idea exactly if I would like that, so I didn't get the experience to try it out before I got it. But I can tell you my very first impression of this pedal, I really like it actually. It's a little easier than the BX to move forward and backwards. I find a little bit more comfortable. The other thing, here's the grapple, or for my third function valve, this is the electronic buttons. It is a Land Pride. The installation of the third function valve, as you've seen, the hoses are tucked in nicely. The dealership did a fantastic job on it. I'm really impressed with the way they did it. Very happy. The big concern I had was if you bought the Kubota third function valve, it all hangs on the outside, and because I'm in the bush all the time, I didn't want to catch that or snag it up on something. So I'm really happy with that. Also, just to go back note as well, the tractor that I purchased here, I purchased this in Perth, Ontario, at a dealership called Hardington, and the salesman and the other guys that work there are super. I don't think you can ask for better guys to deal with. Very, very, very happy with the guys. The salesman was super. He told me up front that it could take, a month to get the tractor, or it could take 6 or 7 months, and there was no BSing around or anything like that, so it was great. So anyways, I ended up having to wait almost 7 months. It was to be expected, so I was told up front, and I really appreciated that from the sales guy. So anyways, other than that, here on the other side here, we've got this lever, and that's for the 3-point hitch on the back. And you can lock your settings, where on the BX you can't do that. A couple other things here is the positioning of the 12-volt little plug-in on the BX is slightly different. And there's a little cup here, or a little, cup holder, not a cup holder, but rather a phone holder, or throw a little trinket or something in here. So I'll show you on the back side. The backside here, it comes with a 3-point hitch, and it's quite a bit different than the one that was on the BX. The one on the BX, it had a turnbuckle style. You have to twist it to set it all up. This one here just has a pin, and obviously it's kind of more of a telescopic kind of a setup. It's a much better setup. A few other things is that the lights here, they're well protected, which I really like. And these here, not so much protected, but could maybe have something over top, but they're kind of out of the way anyways. They're not going to get banged up too much. The one thing that they put here is a little toolbox. It's not much to it. It's just a little plastic toolbox. I guess it's better than nothing, and I'm not complaining about it. A lot of guys I know don't like that. It should be metal or something, but it is what it is. It's better than nothing at all. The ROPS itself is pretty close to the same height as the BX, and it's a little slightly different. As you can see here, it has little peg holes. You can have it at different settings. So, and then also there has this little pin here, so when you bring the ROPS down, so that it's like a little stopper here. I'm going to put a piece of rubber around this because I don't want it banging against this metal on metal. I don't like that very much. But other than that, I just want one or two more things here. You can see the seat that comes with it. The seat is a luxury seat. It has the armrests. It's very comfortable. It slides back and forth. It's now, if I was to add the backhoe, a big difference between the BX and the LX here is that you get the backhoe and you get a second seat on because this seat does not go up like the BX and you twist it around. You can't do that with this. You'd actually end up with a second seat. So you're going to extend a little bit longer out with the backhoe on that. Other than that, guys, the engine is quite a bit different. The whole setup of the engine is very different. As I mentioned, is that the radiator here is at the other end on the BX, and it brings the air in from the workstation where you're actually sitting, rather than having it come from here. So that's going to be a little bit different for me, because I don't think I have too much of a concern with that, because I am not in the field where there's a lot of grass and stuff that debris is going to hit onto the front. Because if you're doing some cutting and stuff with say the lawn tractor or the tractor belly mower or whatever you've got, you'll get weeds coming in through here, through the front, where on the VX the air was coming in from here, so there really was no issue. It hardly ever got dirty on mine. But here it's a big difference. You're going to pull in air from the front, so I don't know, you can keep it, you're going to have to keep it a little bit more clean if you're going to be doing certain types of jobs. For me, I don't think I'm going to have too much of an issue, because the type of work I do is mostly moving a little bit of material and working in the bush, and also to lift logs up onto my sawmill. I'd just like to point out a few other big differences between the BX and the LX. And the first one is here underneath the hood, is that the battery is located here right at the very front. For me, I think that's going to be a lot easier. The battery on the BX is located in the front or of the workstation. I'll show you up here. So the battery would be, you'd have a piece to take off here, and the battery's just in behind here. It's a little bit more difficult to get at your battery if you want to charge it or do anything with it. So I like it here in the front. It's much better. The next thing I want to show you is the cylinders for the bucket or for the loader in the front here. You have 2 cylinders. On the BX there was just one here that I had in the center, so that's slightly different as well. I'm just going to put the hood down here, and I'm going to go on the other side there. And I want to show you here is the location to put in your diesel fuel is now up on the top here, versus the BX where I had it here on the fender. So when on the BX it was quite easy to pour the fuel in. Here on the LX is pretty high, as you can see. It's almost, well, it's pretty high. I'll have to get like a gravity flow, something like a siphon hose, to put in the fuel tank to get it filled up here. So I'm going to lift up a great big jug of diesel fuel and try and pour it like this. It's going to be too difficult. The one last thing I want to point out is the joystick itself is, you can see here, it's located in a slightly different place. On the BX that I had, my joystick was coming from here in the front. I had to reach quite a bit more forward. I did like it, so this is going to be very different for me. It's ergonomically designed, so it should be a little bit easier than holding my hand out to move the joystick around. Other than that, guys, I think that's basically it. I just want to introduce the tractor. I'm going to have some accessories to add. We'll have some videos on that. You'll see the tractor as well in quite a few videos coming up. I've got logs to lift and logs to pull out and so on and so forth. So anyways, guys, if there's anything else... Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you is that I also got a nice mug to come with the tractor. I like that. It's got a metal insert, so keep hot or cold, and the little cup holder. It's a nice little fit, nice little token from the dealership as well. So other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel already, please do so by hitting that subscribe button down below. It really helps me out. And in addition to that, I'd like to thank you once again, and we'll see you next time on Gellin Outdoors.